Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fastest, what were you about to say?
Go ahead, pal.
I'm trying to do the intro and you're interrupting me. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fastest moving hour and 15-minute podcast in the pro wrestling YouTube space, the Squared Circle Maniacs Pro Wrestling Podcast. My name is Johnny Bottles. To my left is Dr. Don Wayne, the neckbeard psychiatrist. You know him, you love him from Twitter with such witty, snappy comments to the IWC neckbeard, such as, put a kerosene rag around your ankles so the ants won't climb up, and eat that candy ass.
That's a good one. That's one of my favorites of all time.
That's one of your snappiest comments. I loved it. I loved it, Don.
I'm hoping our connection is good.
How is it out there warring with the neckbeards?
It's been pretty quiet this week. A lot of people know I was under the weather. I want to thank everybody that wished me well wishes. I was pretty bad, down on my luck. I did not feel good. Matter of fact, this morning I called up Johnny Bottles, as I'm prone to do after a Wednesday night show. We usually talk a little bit on Wednesdays, but we didn't talk at all last night. So I called him up and I said, Johnny, what did you think of last night's show? Because I haven't seen anything about it. I just want to know what you thought. And Johnny said, I watched the match and that was enough. So we're going to have a hell of a show. We're going to talk about AEW. We're going to talk about the ratings. We're going to talk about what we got subjugated to, I should say. There's also some news going around the world of wrestling. Some big news, as a matter of fact. Did you hear about Cody Rhodes?
He's going to be a Presbyterian minister.
No, that is not it at all, actually. I don't even know. Why the hell would you say that?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
You know the big show Game Day that's on ESPN, where they go to all the colleges and they have a huge crowd and they celebrate there. Have you heard about this? Do you know about this?
Yeah. They have celebrities come in and do their picks.
Well, they're in Georgia this week for the Georgia Bulldogs. Big battle this week against Tennessee. Cody Rhodes is going to be the special guest announcer for that game. So he gets to come in and talk a little smack. So I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think it's going to be a good time. I usually watch Game Day anyway, just because Pat McAfee is a complete lunatic.
He's a lunatic.
I mean, a nut job. Yeah, and he does some stuff on that show it makes you go, how are you keeping your ratings and how are you not getting sanctioned by the SEC? Because some of the stuff he says is crazy. If you've never seen it, give it a listen.
I've seen clips. What's the over-under that Cody will start the conversation off with? So, fellas, what do you want to talk about?
I'd almost guarantee it at this point in time. I really would. There's a lot going on right now in the world of wrestling, like we were just saying. I know you've got something you want to get out there. Go ahead and get it off your chest. I know you had a bit of sundry news that you were dying to get to. I want to thank everybody for joining in tonight. Thank you all for having your patience this week. Hope everybody's having a fantastic week. The weekend's right around the corner. I can't wait to hunker down this weekend. It's going to rain all day tomorrow, so all I got to do is whatever my wife tells me, I guess. That's where we're at in life. Get down the Christmas trees, start the holiday off. We're getting the festive move around here, Johnny. Whether you like it or not, we're going to get festive in this bitch. So get ready to chuckle it up.
I would like to talk about everyone's favorite pro wrestling analyst, Dirty Dave Meltzer, the autistic savant, a professional
Which one
wrestling.
are we talking about?
You know where I'm going to go with this.
I don't know, because he said a lot of, he said a lot of ignorant shit in the past week since we were last on the air.
There's a man in the podcasting field. He's a wrestling veteran. And he's a very, very well-liked wrestling veteran.
Okay,
I know an excellent podcast with James Romero. Dirty Dutch Mantel. Him and his wife were having some health problems. His wife's been in and out of the hospital, I guess, since May of this year. And Dutch has had 2 hospital stays, a month long each, recently. They almost piggybacked on top of one another. They were fighting sepsis, and they were fighting E. coli infection, which gives you the sepsis, of course. And it's gotten so bad with his wife, Kathy, that she had to have a bowel resection. She had sepsis and diverticulitis in her bowels. And she was hospitalized 11 times, Don, since May. Had emergency bowel resection surgery and has lost 70 pounds. I know all this because I'm reading what Dave Meltzer wrote in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter. Because of extended hospital stays, their insurance and life savings are depleted, and they started a GoFundMe. Actually, his daughter started the GoFundMe. His daughter is their in-house caregiver now. Because they both still need home care. They raised At the writing of the Wrestling Observer, $64,200. It's now over $100,000 right now. They raised that amount of money with the most top donors being anonymous, and the largest known donors were Tony Khan at $5,000, Chris Jericho at $1,500. With Khan, many have pointed out that Mantel as a podcaster was brutal to Khan, even being critical of him when the promotion was at its popularity peak.
See, and
recently criticized him for the contract terms Swerve Strickland got in his recent deal. You want to add something right here? I'll put a mental bookmark right
there. That's all that needs to be said. You don't need to keep going on the diatribe and the diarrhea coming out of Dave Meltzer's mouth.
And he went on and on. You read it? You saw it?
Yeah, I did.
On and on about a guy on the ropes who has a different opinion of him.
And that's all it is, right?
And he
has a different opinion. He differs on how he would do this. He differs on how he sees wrestling. He doesn't just criticize AEW. He criticizes WWE too. That's his podcast. That's the stick in the podcast wrestling world. You're going to criticize what you don't like and talk about what you did like. Both of them. Right. But Dave Meltzer can never not just let shit go. He's got to get a cheap shot in every chance he gets. Every chance he gets to go after somebody that has criticized his precious AEW. He never takes the high road. He could have just said, Tony Khan donated such and such thousand. Good for Tony Khan for doing that. But he couldn't leave it at that. He couldn't leave it alone. He had to drive this all through the mud, just drag it through the muck. It's just ass, man. It shows the low brow, brain thinking ability of Dave Meltzer. He is a Neanderthal. That's what he is.
Don, it's like, you're a Denver Broncos fan. A lot of people that know you know that. Now, what if someone hated the Denver Broncos and you and that person had a difference of opinion? Would you lambaste that person?
Would you
drag his name through the mud?
Okay. It's kind of like this. Right. It's kind of like Bill's Mafia. This is the best way I can put it. There's a group of Buffalo fans called Bill's Mafia, right? And they are a really good group of fans. And what they've done throughout their careers or their fan bases, they've sent money to charities for other players' kids, spouses when they need them, if they're a Bills fan or not. That is what the equivalent is of this, right? I'm not a Bills fan, but I respect the hell out of them for doing that, right? When we play them, I hope we beat them, but I respect that fan base for what they do. That was just a trash-ass move on Dave Meltzer's part. I can't stand the guy. I saw that this week, and I did hear Dutch Mantel go full bore on him, and he had every right to. I'm surprised he didn't cuss him out more than that. I'm actually surprised he held a lot of that back, and good for him for that. Because Meltzer had a lot more than that coming his way.
I give Dutch a lot of credit for going on and doing that podcast, recording that podcast for 3 hours. In the state that he's in, he's got something going on with his mouth. He can't wear his dentures. That was a little off-putting, but hey, he's 74 years old. He's seen it all. He's done it all.
He has.
And, yes, he has in the wrestling business. He's done it all. Booker, promoter, wrestler, manager, writer.
Porn star.
He's porn star. That's what I called him, Dirty Dutch Mantel, when he was in Puerto Rico.
That's exactly where that came from. If kids didn't know. Don't Google it, kids. Don't Google it.
Dirty Dutch Mantel.
What are you giving them over there? It's called the Dirty Dutch.
It's not length, it's girth. That's what his
big line was. Speaking of idiots that want to run their mouths, Darby Allen, who usually doesn't say anything too controversial, but this week was just one of those, really, Darby? Is this where you're going to go now? Darby Allen said, everything's perfect. I'm a superstar. Superstar is just such a stupid term. I'm like, yo, you're down here. We're up here. We're superstars. I'm one of you who made it. To which Booker T said, it's a marketing term. Get over yourself, kid. Because when kids say, come watch the WWE superstars, it grabs their attention. And it does, right? There's not a lot of things I agreed upon with Vince McMahon with some of the terms he used, like medical facility, I thought was dumb as hell. That's the dumbest term ever. Everyone calls it a hospital. But he dubbed his wrestlers superstars. Yeah, yes, it's a championship opportunity. What the hell?
He didn't like the in-house wrestling terminology of the talent, the workers. He preferred superstars. And that
Yeah.
actually puts that thought in your mind, hey, these people must be superstars. And most of them were. Most of them were household names. Kane,
Yes.
The Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, The Rock, John Cena, Steve Austin, Sable,
Macho
James
Man.
Ellsworth. Well, not
Stone
James
Cold.
Ellsworth. The Macho Man. I already said Stone Cold. The Macho Man. All those guys. All the big names. They were superstars.
I'm just saying, Darby, sometimes just know when to stay in your lane.
Okay.
Pal. Go dive off another balcony or something else. I don't know.
Thanks to Block Larry, I have to turn the chat off before I start laughing hysterically at some of this bullshit.
Thank you all
Thanks
for
to
joining.
Block
Like
Larry.
and subscribe. Hit
Yes.
that notifications button. Hit that subscribe button, folks. We appreciate you all. The super chat's up, but we're going to get to AEW quickly. I know everybody's chomping at the bit to get to this.
Larry, I wanted to
backstage-
comment on what you just said, Larry, but we'd get taken off of YouTube if I mentioned.
Backstage update on a canceled AEW show in Columbus. Did you see this?
Oh, yes. Let me pull
So
this
the
up here.
upcoming
December
AEW
7th.
Collision taping has been canceled. However, what they're saying is Collision is still going to be around that date, but it's going to be at a new facility, a new arena, if you will.
Is that the one they're doing at the Galaxy Comic-Con?
I think so, yes. But apparently it's going to be at a different facility now. So I'm not sure what
Yes.
that's all about. They
Medical
canceled
facility.
this. I swear to God. I swear upon all that is holy, I will get on 95 South and truck it at 100 miles an hour. Matter of fact, I'll go get Vince first and bring his old ass down there. And we will have a three-way battle royal.
Three-way?
Battle royal, pal.
Is that why you're bringing Vince?
Oh, no. It's time to get you both for this for saying that shit. I can't believe you would bring that up. But yeah. So apparently this show's being canceled to move to another venue. I don't know what brought that on. I don't know what happened, but that's where we're going.
I wonder what the ticket sales were.
No one's saying, but I got a feeling that it can't be good.
No, it has to be horrible.
It can't be great, pal. That's all I know. I got one more bit of news. And of course, Will Ospreay was in the news this week for an old wrestling clip where he used his hidden blade finisher on the back of somebody's head. And it looked like it hit him pretty clean. And it looked like it damn near knocked him out. If it didn't, this guy's a hell of a wrestler. I believe he's passed away since. But if he wasn't working, I'm impressed because he then closed the guy's arms behind him and proceeded to forearm the shit out of this back of this guy's neck. I don't care if you're working or not.
Straddling the guy. He was straddling the guy.
It looked stiff and it looked real. And if it's a work, so be it. But the optics on this didn't look like a work. I've been watching wrestling long enough to know it didn't look like a work. No. It looked like something happened and he was taking revenge.
I think he knocked that guy out. Maybe the guy was a little stiff with him. Of course, he was a skinny kid that Ospreay was working with. If you saw the kid, he was a skinny kid. He could wear a rubber band for a necktie. That's how skinny he was. It was terrible. Have you heard about Hulk Hogan?
Oh, shit. Now what? You're going to make Beer Man break something. You know how much he loves Beer Man.
A CNN panelist
how much he loves Hogan.
Has pushed for Hulk Hogan to become Florida U.S. Senator, following Marco Rubio's nomination as Secretary of State, who was a Florida senator. Scott Jennings is a political pundit on CNN, and he's very, very conservative. They got to have one of those people on their shows at least. I give CNN credit for having someone from the other side on there. Has pushed for Hulk Hogan to be his replacement. Quote, Scott Jennings, if Marco Rubio does in fact become Secretary of State, we're going to need a new senator from the state of Florida. We need someone with Rubio's national security credentials.
No,
there's one Floridian who can do it. He stood up to the Russians and the Iranians in the 1980s when he defeated the Iron Sheik Nikolai Volkov, two of America's most lethal foes. He's a real American. He fights for the he fights for the rights of every man. He knows courage is the thing that keeps us free. Ladies and gentlemen, I announce Ron DeSantis, get on it. Hulk Hogan for U.S. Senate.
Yep, we're done.
A legit segment of CNN.
We're done.
And the man had a Hulkamania shirt.
We're done.
On underneath his sport coat.
We're done. That's the worst idea ever. Do not give a guy with dementia. Never mind. I'm not going to go to this road. Just know it shouldn't happen. I'm not going to talk politics. That's never going to happen. That's never going to be a thing. That's all the news I got for today. Oh, yeah, by the way, Raw did $1.56 million this week, and we're not going to talk about Raw for a couple of reasons here. And look, Raw's not embarrassing. It's not bad. It's just boring the shit out of me right now. There's nothing happening. We've watched, I think, one SmackDown in the past 3 or 4 weeks that was worth watching out of both of these shows. They're just not going anywhere right now. It's like they're stuck in neutral and nothing's happening, right? There's a lot of talking. There's a couple of matches. Nothing's really going anywhere, in my opinion, on either show right now. They're just stalling for time until January when they got to start building the Royal Rumble. And by the way, they taped Raw for next week, so that show's already in the box. I mean, it's already in the can. Here's one thing. I'm not going to announce the spoilers for that show because I ran up on them accidentally. I don't understand why people in today's day and age are like, oh, here's the spoilers, and they don't warn you first. They just show you the clip and say, this is from next week. Guys, we live in a modern day. If anybody wants to find it out, they'll go look for it. You don't have to put the shit everywhere.
Don, they want clicks. They want engagement, especially on Twitter. That's why they put the spoilers up. All for the clicks, Don. All for the clicks.
Well, it wasn't worth the time, to be quite frank. And I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to review it. What I am going to talk to you about, though, is AEW, because I don't know how much of this
We're not going to mention anything about Raw and how it went or anything like that.
No, I'm not. No, I have no interest in covering any of that.
Raw was, everyone says we're WWE drones. Raw was boring as hell. And the only saving grace of the show that had any intrigue was the Miz thing with the Wyatt Six. And what do you call it? Carrying Cross. What's the name of that group? They're so memorable.
Yeah, exactly.
AOP.
AOP, yes. It's just
horrible.
It's not bad wrestling. It's just boring as hell. Unlike AEW last night, which came from us from Stamford, Connecticut. Nope, that's Bridgeport. My bad.
Oh, thanks, Swerve.
Swerve Strickland had a little bit of a foobar moment last night, talking about they were in Stamford, Connecticut, and the crowd let him know it. By the way, the show, the Twitter right now, the chat is going off. They're saying Final Testament. They're all going crazy. Kind of like AEW.
Final Testament. I feel so much better now that I know the name of that shitty group. The Final Testament.
Well, I'm going to give you my Final Testament on AEW for the week because I can't talk about this much. Bridgeport, Connecticut last night, 2,727 tickets were distributed in a 10,000-seat arena. Bottles, they did 666,000 viewers. I have no idea how they did this. I don't know how they pulled this off. I don't know what I missed on this. How did they pull that number with the show that we're about to talk about? I really don't understand. And this is sort of where I was talking to you today. And there were two different sides of this coin today when I went on Twitter just to look at it. You either loved this show and thought it was a 10 out of 10, or you despised this show and thought it was in the gutter and it made no sense and it didn't connect anywhere. And I'm of the latter half. I didn't think this show connected with the audience that they're trying to grab. I felt like this was geared towards just pure AEW fans. I thought the whole show from front to back, it started decent. I can't say that. It started decent. But then there's a part in this show where it just, as soon as it happened, you're like, okay, we're going to go down this road now. And we're not coming back. This is not dedicated to a fan base that they are trying to grow. It is dedicated to a bunch of neckbeards that they don't care about anything else. This is all they care about. And Dave Meltzer came out and said this week, WWE is not a product for the mass audience of wrestling fans like AEW is. He couldn't be more backwards. I haven't watched Raw in depth in weeks, and I can guarantee you I can go pick it up on Monday and know exactly where we are, even if I just catch the highlights for the last couple of weeks. Because I've gone through and watched to see if anything clicks my interest, and nothing's grabbing it right now on Raw. AEW is a nonstop car wreck of what the hell happened, who the hell is that, and what are they doing over there, and why is that guy a good guy? Who the hell is she? Tits McGee's back with another Tits McGee? What are we doing here? I thought I was at a strip club at one point.
Yes. I was throwing dollar bills at my TV. It was just, it's AEW. You need a book, a monthly journal to catch up on what's going on. They need to have their own magazine so you can keep up with what's going on, because they won't put any promo packages up on the TV at all. No promo packages at all. WWE, you turn on one of their shows, the first 5 or 10 minutes get you up to speed of what happened last week. If there's anything pertinent that happened on Raw, they let you know it. And that's going to bleed over to SmackDown. They'll say so-and-so from Raw's on their way into SmackDown. Okay, let's see what's going to happen. And in the middle of the show, they bring you up to speed of what happened in the first hour of the show. AEW,
The recap
opens open cold. It just opens up cold, and they have Excalibur do the auctioneer routine where he's got to talk real fast and get everybody up to speed, and it's just excruciating. All I can say is Excalibur and Tony Schiavone need to go to the B or C show.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there about Tony Schiavone because last night was especially egregious. And I like Tony Schiavone, but he was tripping all over his own ball sack last night down the stairs. It's
over. It's over.
There was no Big Bang lead in for this show. Christian Cage and the Patriarchy came out against Hangman tagging with against Jay White and Juice Robinson. And the one highlight I'm going to say about this match before we get into it, at least all four guys looked the part of a professional wrestler. And I'm not a big Hangman Page, right? That's just not my guy. And here's the thing. I would like to like Hangman personally. I think he would have been a really cool guy to follow. Listen to me now. If they hadn't have made him a sad drunk 3 years ago when this whole thing started, when he was palling around with a bunch of losers in the hobo gang, if he'd have never been with those dorks, it would have been a different story. It would have been a different. It would have been a different story if he never got stuck with those ass clowns. I can't unsee this, and he hasn't gone away long enough for me to figure out he's somebody different now. Because every now and then those hobos show up and remind you of how shitty this whole thing was when it first started.
Right.
You can't escape it.
The opening bout, it was Robinson and Switchblade Jay White versus I'm trying to see who
Christian Cage.
Christian Cage and Hangman Page. Yes, Hangman Page. I just lost my notes here for a second. And the best thing about the first 10, 15 minutes of this program was Juice Robinson. The guy hits all the spots, hits all the
I'm glad you
He's
said
a great
that.
wrestler, got charisma. He gets the crowd into it, gets everybody worked up. Right behind him, Switchblade Jay White. Not bad. I had my doubts when he first came into the company. But he's if they can dial him back on the microphone where he just doesn't keep on talking for 20 minutes. Say what he's got to say in 2 minutes and he's
screaming,
done.
where he's not screaming.
Yes. Christian Cage, I don't know what's going to take place with that, I guess a Money in the Bank box or a clipboard or whatever he's carrying around.
I don't even know what you call that. What do you call that? Is that the dollar store Money in the Bank?
The clipboard? The Money in the Bank clipboard? I don't know. Maybe it's the list of Jericho repurposed. I don't know. Then you had Mama Wayne there, who was taller than anybody in the match.
Huge chick.
Because of the high heels. Ridiculous. She needs to stop wearing those high heels. Then she had her pencil neck son involved in it for a little bit. He really didn't put his hands on anybody.
Let's talk about it.
I'm not going to get into all that. But
did you see
what really made from the get-go, from the opening bell in this match to the end of the show, was the crowd was horrible. Horrible. They would have been better off doing this at Daly's place with no crowd, like they did during the pandemic. And they would have got a better reaction from the boys in the back that they would have brought to the ringside to be the crowd like they did during the pandemic. This was horrible.
This is what I noticed. By the way, Super Chat's open. You got something to say, let us know. But here's what I noticed. Did you see Christian take the Bret Hart chest first bump into the turnbuckle early in the match? That looked amazing. He ate that like a champ, sold the hell out of it. And this is the other part that popped me. The ref started counting Christian and Hangman real fast where they were double teaming him. 1, 2, like get out of the ring. I was like, oh shit. Are we actually going to see a semi-serious match in this company?
We're enforcing the rules.
Yes.
Imagine
and then it got weird. The two heels didn't trust each other. I should say Hangman didn't want to tag Christian. I thought that was a little weird, right? I wasn't really on board with that. Whatever. Hangman trusts nobody. I guess that's what they're trying to sell. Juice Robinson can sell. His facials, his wrestling style. This guy should be pushed a hell of a lot harder than he's getting pushed right now, like you said. There's nothing Juice Robinson did that I didn't like. Really, it did. And then it went to shit. Out go to the floor goes one of the faces. And Nick Wayne sets up the longest setup in history, where you can literally see a white hooded figure in the background come sneaking up to get him. Peter Pan pulls him over the rails, and off they go to fight in the back. So Peter Pan's entered the fray. He's fighting Nick Wayne. I said that. Why?
Captain Hook.
Why was it? I call him Peter
Captain
Pan now because Captain Hook was a badass that lost a hand to a crocodile. He's Peter Pan. He's the boy who won't grow up.
He's not a badass. He's got a bad haircut.
Yes, there you go. That wears hoodies that he loves all the time. Everything
like
about
John
this.
Fetterman.
Then I couldn't deal with this anymore. Again, Juice Robinson on the pin was great. Did you see his facials when he was trying to pin and thought he was going to get the win? He had I'm going to get. I thought it was great. No, it doesn't happen. Mama Wayne gets involved. Heels win. I can't argue with the finish because they got a reason to bitch now, right? You want the faces to have a reason to complain. This was, my opinion, this was the best part of this show, and it was over like that in 15 minutes.
Over.
The best part of this show was done.
Gone.
Because then the announcer starts screaming, Max is going to seize control of the Superstation. Let me get this straight.
You mean Mox,
John
not Max. Mox.
I'm sorry. Well, Max, same goddamn guy with no charisma. Bald plumber, that guy.
Yes.
He's coming.
I've noticed about him with all these different graphics with his face on it. And the bumpers and the on Twitter, the ads. He's starting to metamorphosize into Louis C.K. Canceled comic Louis C.K. He's starting his whole body and face is starting to take that shape of Louis C.K.
Mox is going to seize the Superstation. They kept saying this over and over again.
Yes.
Here's my question to you. If you know this guy's coming to seize the station and he's going to try to hijack your show, wouldn't you have extra security all around the building? Maybe get the cops? And I bring this up for one reason only. In WCW, the NWO, because this is the angle they're trying to run back. Because it didn't work with the Bucks because no one bought those feckless guys as an actual threat to run anything other than a 5-and-dime liquor store. That's about all they're able to operate. They're not going to take over this show.
Oh, they couldn't manage the Target. That's right.
I'm not letting them run Target. Hell no. But this is supposed to be the NWO takeover. When Scott Hall and Kevin Nash came in to take over, the cops were there, the wrestlers were there, and they had their hands on their guns. You believed all of this. None of this shit that we're going to get into in a minute felt real. None of it.
No, none of it. None of it.
Renee Baguette is backstage with Mercedes Moné, and the sound is still 100% echo ass. It's just why can't they fix this? It's week after week with the sound in the back. It's gobbledygook.
It's not just in the back now. Not just in the back now. The ring announcer's starting to echo off the walls because there's hardly anybody in the arena. And they need to turn his microphone on because 2 ring introductions, I forgot who they were last night. You missed the first line of it. The mic turns on right when he's in the middle of a sentence. What a professional outfit this place is. And I'd have to tell you that I even wrote in these notes when I actually made notes this time watching this show.
I'm surprised.
Instead of having all these people on the payroll, okay, why don't you fire about 10 people? That way you can free up the budget to buy some more equipment, some better TV equipment to run a television program with, better sound, have some actual engineers come in who know what they're doing to run the production. You can't tell me these guys are pros running the production. The director may be, but the rest of the people are not. They are not. I guarantee they've all been pulled off the indies from PWG and CZW and Game Changer Wrestling. All these mooks that have come in from during their little filming their pay-per-views. The Bucks have hired these guys, and Tony Khan's hired these guys from the indies to actually run a television program that's nationally televised. It's horrible.
Why not? Well, you think it's horrible now. Wait till you see this segment. Camille is still in this awful role. Now she's the bootlicker to Mercedes Moné. She's no longer the enforcer. Now she's the bootlicker. Mercedes is yelling at her to pick up her coat. You see Statlander standing behind them ominously out of nowhere. Statlander then proceeds to come down, beat the hell out of Camille, beat up Mercedes, and then tackles them both through a fake wall. Why don't you Camille, just get the shovel out and bury Camille now? Because what are you doing?
She threw Camille into the wall, and Camille was done after that. She was down. Then she grabbed Moné. Let me tell you, before this, when Moné had lines to say, This is the acting is worse than the CW network sitcom or drama. It's worse than that. It's horrible. This looks like a high school play that Mercedes Monet's in. That she's trying to be,
middle school.
You know.
I'd give you middle school.
You would go, okay, we'll go to middle school.
I'd go middle school.
She's awfully tall for middle school, but we'll go with it. She's horrible. And the only one in this entire group that has any kind of, well, I haven't heard Camille talk that much.
No,
Camille's got talent. She's got talent. Good in the ring.
She's got a look, if nothing else. She has a unique look.
She's got the what?
She's got a unique. She's got the look. She's got the look. She's got the look. What in the world could make a brown-eyed girl turn blue? Camille is picking up pink jackets. This is some bullshit for you. And Mercedes goes, ah, 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 ah.
So the newly crowned face, Chris Statlander, is going to be the challenger for the TBS title for reasons. She's a face now for reasons.
I don't know. I didn't get this. Why are you burying this Amazon woman in this wreck of shit and nothingness? Anyway, on to the next segment because I'm going to get through this.
I was impressed by this show because he actually ran a WWE style advertisement for a live collision event. They actually ran a promo for it. For the town it's going to be in, the arena. Buy your tickets now. They're actually trying to they're trying to move tickets, dude. They're trying to do something is what they're trying to do.
This is the old adage, Johnny. This is the old adage. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, did it really happen?
Doesn't make a noise, is what it is.
No, does it really happen? No. Will Oceanspray comes out in a tracksuit as usual, with Tony Schiavone standing in the ring, and Tony Schiavone looks like he's actually going to get an interview in. And he starts it off. And I don't know what the hell he tried to call Takeshita. Was this when he just completely brutalized Takeshita's name and just fell all over his tongue? What the hell was that?
What do you call him? Kanosh Teshta?
Dude, I have butchered the hell out of some names on this show, as is well known. It has been my bugaboo since we went on the air. It has taken me working at this to get their names right. And Tony Schiavone said, you went out here and you fought Sensei Katushika, and it was a good battle. And I said, what the hell was that? Didn't get it.
Tony's in the back checking his notebook. Sensei Katushika. Did I sign him? I signed a lot of those Japanese guys. Did I sign him?
This went off the rails quickly because here we go. I said, Tony Schiavone's going to get an interview. And as soon as it started, Will says, you should leave because I'm going to call Kyle out now. Because that's what used to happen all the time back in the day. Remember that? They used to say, hey, I'm going to call out the bad guy. You should leave. No, the interviewer would sit there and go back and forth between them. But no, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to let the wrestlers take control.
This is why these promos are so terrible. Because they've got no guy there holding a microphone, directing traffic, directing the questioning. When one guy's running on too long, the interviewer should ask the other guy a question, make a statement, do whatever. There's no one directing traffic here in these live promos whatsoever. It's ridiculous.
By the way, everybody, thank you for watching. Hit the like and subscribe. Hit that notifications button. Super chat.
How great did Ospreay look when he walked to the ring?
He had a whole tracksuit on.
Buddy, let me tell you something. This is the difference between AEW and WWE. Extra medium. AEW and WWE, this is another one of the major glaring differences. When the Hurt Syndicate arrived on the scene in AEW,
Jack to the scene,
the three guys came out looking like stars, wearing suits, muscular, calm, cool, and collected. They can talk. They can speak. Even Lashley can cut a promo. Even Shelton Benjamin can say a few lines. MVP is there to do most of the talking for all of them, but he's got a commanding presence. When Ospreay comes out, he looks like the cart boy at Winn-Dixie up the street. It's horrible. They all look terrible when they come out.
Except one guy.
Adam Cole.
What the hell is wrong with you? No, Kyle. Kyle looks the part, man. He does. Kyle
Fletcher?
Is a big dude. He's a big guy, man. He looks the part. You can tell he's putting his money into it. You can tell he's working at this. But do me a favor. Can we please get rid of that god-awful haircut? That head of his is not made for that haircut. I don't give a shit if he gets a bowl cut, if he runs with a mohawk. Do something other than a buzz cut that looks like you are too cheap to get a barber because it looks terrible.
Well, the kid's making over $250,000 a year and his living girlfriend Sky Blue. So I think he's doing okay for himself right now.
None of that shit
But
matters.
this is another promo. This is another promo where a bunch of guys are standing around talking how bad they had it when they were coming up, and you had to sleep on my couch because you were living in your car or what.
And this is Kyle Fletcher, just to clarify.
Yes, this is Kyle Fletcher living on Ospreay's couch, bruv. And
we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
All that crap.
Don't do it a disservice because that shit.
Nobody. These guys are all making $250,000 to $500,000 a year working for this company. And what?
I'm gonna get there.
I didn't hear what you just said. You broke up.
I'm gonna get to it. So here's my thing, right? Kyle Fletcher says, I called you out a week ago and you were afraid to come out here. I'm out here now. I'm out here, Ocean Spray. I'm not afraid of you. When did the faces become the chicken shits, man? What am I missing here? This is the most ass backwards booking I've ever seen in my life. So now the face is afraid to cut. This made me so angry as a fan, man, just because it didn't stop and it continues on. Here we go with We Live Together, and we get another best friend segment. I gave you food when you needed to eat, says Ocean Spray. We recap the whole you fed me moment. It's just crap. And it went back and forth. And they talked about their days in New Japan. They talked about their days going everywhere else. It was just a nonstop. You were once my friend and now you're not. And I'm doing this for Pablo because he gave us a bunch of it last week. Welcome to the show, Pablo. Glad you could make it. Your super chats are greatly appreciated last week, my friend.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, New Japan's dead. New Japan's dead. Everything they're talking about that went on in New Japan, no one saw. No one watched it. No one saw it. No one cares about New Japan Pro Wrestling. No one in that arena cares about New Japan Pro Wrestling outside of maybe 3 or 4 fat guys in the front row. That was it. It's just garbage. Garbage. And Ocean Spray's, he's hurt. And he's hurt more than what we think he is.
There's a reason
he's going to lose that belt.
New Japan Pro Wrestling is no longer on television in America. There's a reason that they are trying to pull away from AEW because they hijacked all their stars. All of their quote stars that everybody loved on the indie scene are now gone. There's nothing left in the pool. There's nothing there. And now with WWE's ID or whatever the hell you want to call it deal, that's not happening either. Like the indies are gone. This is no longer a pool that can be pulled from New Japan or AEW. This is no longer what it was. It's now big boy wrestling, and AEW screwed over New Japan, in my opinion, and took all their big stars. They really did.
Yeah. Well, the indies aren't dead because there's one televised every Wednesday, and that would be AEW. It's an indie promotion that's on TV. That's all it is. And I would say they got great production values for an indie, but they don't. Their production values suck. The sound's horrible. The arenas are all dark. They can't light the arena because there's nobody in the arena. It's the shits.
And I'm not
even when they do a backstage promo, Don, it's dark backstage now. Why are they trying to hide that?
We're gonna get there. Slow down there, Charlie. We're gonna get there. Slow down. The next thing you know, out comes Kyle Fletcher's group, and now it's going to be a 3-on-1, and Ocean Spray says, I'm not here alone. And now we got Chicken Hawk and the other guy, and everybody's fighting. And out of nowhere, Chicken Hawk and Roddy Strong are going to have a match. Suddenly, out of nowhere. And this thing goes to the back, and you can't see a damn thing. And apparently, somebody's getting pinned in the back. The ref is counting. You can't see shit. And finally, after everything else, the spotlight comes on, and it hits neither one of them. And suddenly, Roddy's arm is bleeding like a stuck pig. What the hell am I watching, and why is this so? It's so bad. It just made me mad. Just watching this made me angry.
They went to picture-in-picture for a commercial break, and I'm watching them just out of. Normally, I fast forward. I'm watching and watching. I said they haven't gone back to the ring. They haven't gone back to the ring at all. The referee's just standing there. Is this false count anywhere? It would have been nice if we would have been told that.
They said it when it started. You had to catch it quick. They literally said it. This is a Falls Count Anywhere match. Don't forget, which tells you they decided to put it at the end so they could do a bunch of bullshit because neither one of these guys wants to really work in the ring. Because the Chicken Hawk, I'm sorry, he's big and bad, but this shouldn't be happening, man. Roddy Strong is maybe 2/3 his size. This is the kind of stuff that if you're going to have a hardcore match, I don't know.
Chicken Hawk and Brian Cage are getting a push right now. Do you know why they're getting a push? Even though he lost last night. Why
I'm
going to
say how big of a push is he lost? He lost again.
He was on TV once every 2 months. Once every 2 months.
Getting paid and not getting beat. I'd have rather taken that route. Pay me, don't beat me.
They brought him back. And they're pushing Brian Cage now with a new look because the Hurt Syndicate need guys as big as they are to throw around the ring and to be pinned. So, Marco Matacoli, my prep for my colonoscopy was more exciting than a Dynamite show last night. Well, thank you for that vivid depiction of the trials and tribulations that you're going through right now, Marco. You have my deepest sympathies.
Also,
thanks for the $4.99.
That was good. Good. Thank you for the super chat. That was very good.
Yes, sir.
This thing I felt like wasn't going to end. I just thought this match was never going to end last night. It just kept going and going. No. Like a colonoscopy. Is this thing going to end? How far are you going with that tube, pal?
I can feel it on my palate, pal.
It's like waking up. It's like waking up in the middle of your colonoscopy. That's what this was last night. That's what this was.
Yes. What the hell is going on
back there?
Whoa.
Did Vince McMahon get here?
Easy. I heard a shake the snake, but come on now.
He was drinking piss. Anyway, this thing goes on forever. Roddy wins. They cut to MJF, which is a pre-cut scene, which they've been doing for weeks because he's not actually there. It looks hokey.
And it was dark at his place, too.
Yes. Roddy's cutting a promo, and I'm going to screw this name up.
Max!
Yes, Screaming Max. Takeshita, I almost messed his name up, but I got it. Jumps him out of nowhere. Takeshita jumps him, and the next thing you know, here we go. Out comes Adam Cole looking like he came straight out of Vietnamese jungle with jaundice. That's the only way I can describe how he looks. This guy was the color yellow in your little box of crayons when you grew up as a kid. That's how he looked. Holy shit, what was that? Thank you again, Marco.
Some people said he was Amarillo. Some people said he was Goldenrod. He looked like a piss mop. That's what he looked like. A mop that you used to mop up piss. That's what he looked like. Looked terrible. Again, looked terrible. Horrible.
Like I said.
At least he didn't win. At least he lost.
Oh, can we get to that?
Have these people seen this show? It's not a big
None
mystery.
of them watch this show. They've said this. They watch us to see what happens. None of them watch.
Oh, okay. I wonder if Adam Cole won that bout.
Yeah.
I wonder if he
Here's
won.
what this is again.
Please tell us, Don.
On the face of this, when they locked, did it not look absurd given the size of Takeshita and the size of Adam Cole? On the face of it, when they stood next to each other, it was laughable. It's laughable, and there's no reason to believe it.
When they fought up the ramp last week, it looked ridiculous. It looked like one of those. It looked like one of those videos you see on the Fight Haven account on Twitter, where a teacher's fighting with his student. That's what it looks like. And Adam Cole's a student.
And this was the match, by the way, where Tony Schiavone fell all over himself trying to call this match. He was stumbling over words. He couldn't get a thought out. He couldn't get a sentence out for more than a couple of words. Like, I got a drink. It was bad bottles. And I like Tony Schiavone. I enjoy a lot of what he does. This last night was as bad as I've ever heard Tony Schiavone in my life.
I heard him say, "This is the greatest stroke in the history of strokes that I'm having."
I'm not going that far. I'm just saying, dude, he was bad last night, Bottles.
He needs to come off the air. Or be the color commentator for Rampage while it's still on the air. They need to move Excalibur and Tony Schiavone off this main show, which is their version of Raw. Move it off the main show. They've got Ian Riccaboni, who I hate, but he's a good he's a good play-by-play guy. He's on Ring of Honor. Take that guy and put him on as play-by-play on Dynamite with Nigel McGuinness. And just let it go with that. A two-man booth. I remember when Dynamite came on the air, there was like 9 guys at one time doing color and play-by-play. The Big Show, Jericho, Waterhead Matt Menard, Daddy Magic, whatever his name is, Cool Hand Ang, who's reduced now to having coitus with Ruby Soho. And anybody who's just walking by, Michael Nakazawa, Kenny Omega, whoever was walking by, they jumped on color commentary. At one point in time, it was like 9 people. Don Callis.
Yes, he actually wasn't so bad at it. He wasn't so bad.
Callis is good. He was a color commentator in TNA, so he knows.
I remember.
He knows the deal. Yeah, Callis is good. I could sit there and listen to Callis and Rick Abani call that show. But please don't bring Jim Ross back. For the love of God,
no.
Do not bring Jim Ross back to do any kind of play-by-play or color commentary.
But this was the match.
Over.
This is the match, like I said, Tony Schiavone just fell all over himself. He couldn't get words out. It didn't stop. And this is what got me, right? So Takeshita gets the win by putting on the diamond on his pinky and nails him.
Yeah.
Yes, which I did not see this coming. I honestly thought there was going to be some sort of a swerve at the end where Roddy and Cole have to fight each other. No, it's just going to be Roddy. So that caught me off guard. I've been saying it for weeks, and hey, look, you caught me off guard with this one. I didn't see that coming. Good for them for swerving the fans. Cole doesn't get the match, and they go to MJF, who's laughing, right? Another pre-cut segment. Roderick Strong runs out to the ring and gets Rochambeau'd for his efforts right away. The heel is now kicking the shit out of the two baby faces.
Because they're little. Big heel, 2 little baby faces. They're getting their asses kicked. Make it look realistic.
And now we get O'Reilly running to the ring with the chair. We've got a 3-on-1.
O'Reilly.
We got a 3-on-1 where the faces outnumber the heel, and they're the good guys. When was it ever cool for the bad guys to not be outnumbering the face? Are we doing a 180 here? What the hell is this? And then to top it off, out of nowhere, he being Takeshita, gets to the top of the ring, holds up the ring, holds up the belt, and Ping Pong comes out of nowhere and starts whooping his ass.
Ricochet, chase him to the back. Let's put a hat on top of a hat, on top of a hat, on top of a hat for overkill. Tony Khan can't help himself. He has no restraint. Just when you write something out, Tony, and it looks good, and you think it's going to work live, leave it alone. Don't add any more shit to it. Just leave it alone.
By the way, thank you all for
watching. Let's have Kyle come out. And he doesn't want to be friends with Roderick.
Which was the other
But he'll
part
come out to save you guys. I don't understand.
Why would he not shake his hand, but I'll save you? It's just ridiculous booking. What are we doing?
If I didn't like anybody, I would run out to save them from getting their ass kicked.
I'd watch you get your ass kicked and laugh.
Right. It makes no sense. So, Tony, when you write things out, Tony, and it looks good, just let it lie. Run it live. Don't add any more bullshit to it.
The Cracker Clan is shown arriving in the building and we go to commercial. And then we come back with Renee Baguette with Bobby Lashley with once again the awful sound. And again, MVP cuts her off, performs an amazing promo. Bobby Lashley holds his own. Less is more with Bobby Lashley. He does a great job here, in my opinion.
Right.
He didn't have to say a lot. When you're that big, you should say very little and let the other guy talk for you. Although, in his defense, MVP ain't no little guy. He's just got a bad wheel, which I do enjoy that they are selling with that cane. So it gives him some vulnerability. You know what I mean? He can't just come out there and kick the shit out of another wrestler. That bad wheel is going to cost him if he tries to get involved. And I think that's what we're going to see eventually at this pay-per-view. But this was, again, I said, okay, this was a professional wrestling segment. Grab my attention. Nothing embarrassing. Everything was good. Like and subscribe. Hit the notifications button. Super Chat's open. Anything to add to that? Oh, we got it now, pal.
I just want to get to the plumbing company, the Moxley Plumbing Company. They came out, their truck backed up.
That's what I'm saying. So here we go. Hold on here. Block Larry says, put Adam Cole with the Cracker Clan and they can become crackers and cheese. Book it.
The Cracker Clan, they could call Adam Cole the American Single.
That, I don't know what happened. I don't know why Cole has jaundice. I'm going to keep him in my prayers. I hope he never goes back to the jungle again. But please stay healthy.
He could have got a little dung fever there while he was in the...
He may have. The Cracker Clan comes out with Claudio and Wheeler beating the shit out of J.D. Drake, and no one cares because no one has ever given a shit about J.D. Drake. No one cares. This had no place in this show. It didn't matter. And here comes John Moxley in the tightest pants I've ever seen. I thought he was wearing Pockets blue jeans. Did he paint them bitches on? What is he doing?
Renee's. He's wearing Renee's pants. That's what the deal is. And Marina Shafir was dressed like Darby Allen. She was wearing his old clothes. She had on the Daisy Dukes with the black tights underneath.
It made no sense, this entire look of this crew last night. Literally, it looked like he being Moxley, looked like he was wearing Pockets pants. It really looked like that.
When he cut the promo in the ring, it's the same old bullshit. Oh, I tell you. He's walking around like he's distracted, like he's just pacing. I've been thinking an awful lot lately about Darby Allen.
And then it gets worse.
And you could just take that name out and leave it blank, and he'll throw in the next challenger's name, and the next, and the next. It's the same promo every month. He's horrible.
And
horrible. Not just in the ring, on the promos, he's horrible. Go ahead, Don.
The crowd was so silent, so quiet, you could hear what?
You could hear what?
What did you hear?
And you heard someone say, go back to Roman.
Do you know how insanely embarrassing that had to be? Thank you, by the way, Block Larry, for the $5, pal.
Yes. Well, you've got an arena where one person's talking and everyone else is so silent, not cheering, not stamping their feet. They're totally not even interested in this. Nothing. They're just staring blankly at the ring the entire night. And one guy yells something out. Pac was home.
I was going to bring this up, but Mark beat me to it.
Thanks for the $5 super chat, Mark. Pac was home washing his only pair of tights. Couldn't make it to Dynamite. Yes, Pac was stuck at the cusp of a new wash cycle for his laundry, and he couldn't appear.
I was going to ask that. Where the hell was Pac in his super tight undies? Why was he not at the show? Is this a foursome sometimes and a five some other times? What is this group's entire meaning? Why are they here? And this is the other part of this, and I don't know if you saw this or read this or not. Dave Meltzer has come out and said Moxley has been given full reign with this storyline and is in control of all of it and is running the whole thing, which would explain why everything about this is trash, sucks, doesn't make sense, and doesn't connect. There's no reason he's connecting why Shafir's there. No one's telling us why that. No one's telling us any of this. Why is Pac suddenly with these guys? Again, I don't understand this.
Why did you to turn on Bryan Danielson? Why is Claudio, who was good friends with Bryan Danielson, why is Claudio with Moxley? If they want to do the NWO, they need
Why does Pac only have one pair of underwear?
Couldn't Marina loan him another pair of Darby Allen's shorts and tights?
I don't know, but this thing got horrible fast.
Garbage.
And by the way, this was the segment they've been talking about all night. They're going to take over TBS. They're going to take it over tonight. We're going to lose total control. Moxley's taking over TBS.
They didn't even do anything. But they beat up J.D. Drake, the man who's in an A cup. No, he's probably in a B cup.
Again, this thing went nowhere. The conglomeration comes out with Pockets, cuts a promo, and I fell asleep. It was so bad. This guy, I don't understand what people see. When I say Pockets, by the way, who am I talking about, ladies and gentlemen?
Orange Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy. Everybody I know calls him Pockets because I'm not gonna give the guy credit for saying his name is Orange. It's the dumbest shit ever. Pockets just bores me. Nothing he says makes me believe in him. Nothing he does makes me believe. And he says he's going to take the power back. I was like, he must have been listening to some old school rap from the 80s if he's bringing that shit back. Wheeler Yuta next week, he's going to challenge him. Mox says that's okay. We'll do that at his 3-inch lifts. Did you notice that Moxley had on 3-inch lifts in his shoes?
No, I did not. He's wearing lifts.
He had big lifts. Yes, he did.
Is that why he's having trouble walking when he gets out of the truck?
If you notice, when he stepped over the rail, he was real careful this week compared to other times where he's just like, I'm a badass. I'm going to go over the rail like a badass would do it. Oh, so shit, I felt like a badass.
In a company of short people, he's wearing lifts.
Yeah.
To go up against Darby Allen. Now, Darby was probably going to be wearing his super lifts. Probably
he's
6-inch heels.
On those,
Mamba Wayne's high heels. He's going to have those.
Go-go boots from the 70s. Book it now, pal.
Absolutely.
Moon boots, bitch. They start to leave, and Darby Allen, who I didn't see. Did you see Darby Allen? I did not see him on top of this whole thing, coming down on him. Darby Allen dives on the pile of the Cracker Clan. I did not see him coming. Did you?
Didn't see him coming. No.
Okay. This is important because they come back after all of this shit breaks down. And Tony Schiavone says, the entire clan was coming over because they saw Darby Allen. Nobody saw Darby Allen. And once again, Tony Schiavone just falls all over himself. I didn't see him coming.
Tony, less is more. Say less. It'll mean more.
They start fighting all over the place. Shafir gets Moxley out of there. They escape to the truck, and Darby Allen jumps in the back of the pickup truck, where he is harmless. But for some reason, Claudio Castagnoli decides, I have to stop the truck now because he's in the back of the truck, and we don't have Wheeler Yuta. If you got a guy in the back of your truck, and it's going to be 2-on-1 wherever the hell you get, why wouldn't you just drive off into the night, dig a hole, and bury that son of a bitch? No, we got to stop the truck now, which is fine. Okay, we want to stop the truck now. Let's do that. Does Darby Allen start beating the hell out of Claudio? No! Claudio whips his ass, throws him into a garage door, jumps back in the truck, and off they go with Wheeler Yuta jumping in the back of the pickup.
What killed me was they're coming out down a ramp out of the garage, and you can look, there's a railing where you can look down.
Yes.
And there's a drop-off there. Why wouldn't they just throw him over that? Instead, he walked Darby Allen back 50 feet to throw him up against a garage door. I would have just pitched him over the rail. If I hated the guy as much as they allegedly do. That way he couldn't go ahead and, have that match in full gear. He would be out. Broken back, broken legs. I don't know. That's what I would have done. I don't know, Don.
I wouldn't have driven off without beating his ass first. You drive off,
right? Beat
his ass, come back and get Wheeler. You got 2-on-1 in the parking lot. Beat his ass real quick. No, it just, again, none of this made any sense. I didn't like any of this. And by the way, this was the entire segment of the Cracker Clan. This was their takeover. This was it. This was the end of their segment of the show. It was a fart in church. Nothing happened moment. Nothing.
And everyone in the crowd just looked around like, okay, that was something. Something just happened.
But it wasn't very good.
No, well, none of this was good.
Do you want to know how bad this was, by the way?
How bad was it?
By the way, thank you all for watching. We really appreciate you guys. Please like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. You want to know how bad it was? Neither you or I even tried to find the quarter-hour breakdowns because we just didn't give a shit.
I tried to. While we came on the air.
Oh, you did?
When we came on the air, I was trying to, yes.
I did not care. That's why I haven't asked you one time, because I don't care. I don't care what they did quarter hours. If they did 666 overall, I don't care, and I don't want to know. Back to Renee Baguette with Jericho and Ishii challenging him to get another match, and Chris Jericho talks about Japan. Why is everybody talking about a company that doesn't matter anymore? I don't get the mindset of this indie bullshit lifestyle these guys want to lead. None of this made any sense. None of it matters.
I will say, I just pulled up the quarter hours, Don.
Don't care. Don't care.
The Dick Riders, Moxley and his crew, the Dick Riders, they're their segment soared above the first hour of the show.
I'm sure it did because you thought you were going to see something.
719,000.
I'm sure. And then what happened after that?
What happened after that was the...
Don't just tell me
Britt
the number.
Baker.
I don't want to know what you're talking about. Just give me the number.
678,000.
Okay. That's what I thought. And then it probably wouldn't even... I know it had to plummet after that.
It was a downhill slide after that.
That's what I'm saying. You tuned in to see this. You got disappointed. You left church early. I'm done.
Yes. The low for the show, up until that point, was the Mercedes Moné angle. That went down from 775 at the beginning of the show down to 649.
Yeah.
So 130,000 people checked out.
Britt Baker comes out. She comes out to zero pop. No pop. None.
No pop.
And she's going to fight Penelope Ford. We talked about this last week. Who came out to no pop. We talked about this last week, though.
Mm-hmm.
Penelope Ford, is she a jobber now and we didn't get the memo?
Penelope Ford was hurt. She got a bad concussion.
Don't care. That's not what
I'm just telling you what the story is.
We went over this last week.
She was out for 2 years. She missed 2 years worth of time. So she's locked in. If she was due to expire this year, she's locked in for another 2 years. She's married to the little white-haired boy that's running around with Christian Cage now, Kip Sabian. She had a concussion, and then she had a bad miscarriage where she couldn't do anything in the ring at all. So she missed 2 years of work.
But here's my question again. Is she a jobber now?
Jobber to the stars. Yes.
Okay. Because this is 2 weeks in a row she's gotten her clock. I'm not going to go over this shitty match. This thing was awful. Everything about it was bad. It was sloppy.
Baker didn't want to be there.
Horrendous.
Baker didn't want to be there. They looked like they were stomping through mud. They looked like they were in quicksand wrestling. It looked like I told you on the phone today, it looked like they were rehearsing a match and not going through the motions, rehearsing a match, not following through all the way with the moves. It was horrible.
If they
Britt
wanted
Baker's
to
mentally
keep my
checked out.
attention, if they wanted to keep my attention for this match, they should have cut live to 10th Avenue in New York City to watch two hookers fight for the point. That would have been more entertaining than this. Two hookers on the point going at it for the 10th Avenue corner. This was atrocious. The cutter was bad. The finish was shit. I hate that I hate the hands in the mouth shit as a finisher. I hate it when Mankind did it. I thought the Mandible Claw sucked. This sucks. And at the end of the match, you could take it from here because I couldn't believe what she was screaming into the camera. She being Britt Baker. Because
Serena Deeb. They're trying Serena Deeb again up against Britt Baker. They're trying that match again because they're probably running out of people that will work with Britt Baker backstage. No one wants to work with her anymore because she's a douchebag when it comes to sandbagging and not cooperating in the ring. You could see that in this match. And she's slow. I don't know if it's because of the mild stroke she had. I don't know. But she's terrible. And she good old promos. She can talk. But when Serena Deeb is challenging her, I guess for Full Gear, I don't even know.
I
wasn't really paying attention. I was too busy watching Baker. And Baker was saying to the cameraman, who's right in the corner, and she's leaning on the ropes, and they got an upshot. She's saying, no one cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And she turned around and walked away from the corner and turned her back on Serena Deeb. So Baker knows that no one cares about this show. No one's watching this show. They drew 666,000 people this week. And I will say, and I'll die on this hill, because the Young Bucks were not on TV.
You're probably right. They didn't kill the segment. You're probably right.
They were not on TV. The Bucks and Okada were not on TV. They're gone. Okada's wife just had a baby, their second child.
Oh, no, Jack Perry was also not.
And Jack Perry was not on TV either. Well, what are they going to do with Jack Perry without the Young Bucks? What are they going to do? You can't do anything with him. He's terrible. He's horrible. He can't cut a promo. He sucks in the ring. He's terrible.
But now we get to the heart of the show and the heat of the matter and the reason for the thumbnail. Renee Baguette, for like the 33rd time on the show, is backstage with Tits McGee. She has returned. Who is Tits McGee for all the new viewers? Who am I talking about, Bottles?
Mina Shirakawa.
She's known for two things. Take a guess what they are.
She's a Japanese woman who's got breast implants.
And in comes Harley Cameron in what has to be the worst segment I have seen since some of the shit they did in the late 90s in WWF. Sure. Because both chicks decide to have a titty shake-off with Renee Baguette in the middle to see which one of them can shake their jugs the most. Am I describing anything wrong here?
No, not at all. And according to Mina Shirakawa, they're going to have a match this Saturday on Collision.
And to have to see who the breast is. That's
Collision. And to see who has the best breast. And then they will have champagne celebration, according to Mina Shirakawa.
I don't care. That was god-awful.
Collision.
I don't care.
That's my new name for that show, Don.
That doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me. She's learning to speak English. That does not bother me in the slightest. What bothers me fluently. I would say not. But what bothers me is we're having a titty shake-off. The titty shake-off? Why are we... If this was on WWE, the neck beards would have come unglued. Unglued.
Does that mean having an orgasm by yourself in your basement?
No, that is not walking around on tinfoil. That's not what I mean.
I'm just checking, Don. I need to clarify these terms for me.
Would not.
They've got nothing else. They've got nothing else to get these young boys to watch. So they're throwing the
Mark gave us some money, and he's got a great question.
Did Vince Russo write that segment?
Damn good
That's something he would do. That's something he would do. You know what? At this stage of the game, if I was Tony Khan, I would throw $250,000 a year at Vince Russo. I'd say, come on in here and help me write this show, Vince. I need continuity. And the show would actually be better if Vince Russo wrote this show. I'm just saying, if you've got dog crap, how can you make it better? You can maybe what?
Now with sprinkles.
That was sprinkles. dog crap with sprinkles. And some whipped cream. That's what you could do. He would be the whipped cream man on the dog crap of what this show is, of what this company's turned into. This is it. This is your flagship show. This is your flagship show, Don. You gotta do something to get these kids to watch the B and C shows. Collision's the B show. Oh, watch Collision.
Ho.
What?
No, they're not the B show. That's like Shotgun Sunday night or Saturday night that WWE used to have. That god-awful segment.
Collision is the B show. Yeah.
It
does better than Rampage. Rampage is barely on the air.
Rampage is canceled, and they're refusing to acknowledge it. That's all I'm saying.
They could just wipe out both of those shows, and they could run Return of the Jedi on Saturday nights.
Draw more
ratings. Draw higher ratings than what Collision's doing.
Anyway, Swerve comes out for his match with Leo Rush, and I'm just going to say why. Why? Collision. Why is Leo Rush having a match with Swerve? And I had hopes this would be a squash match for this, right? I wanted this to be a squash match.
It should have been.
But no, what do we get? We get a bunch of flips, a bunch of sea salts, a bunch of cartwheels. Leo Rush does a backflip out of the damn ring, to which, and again, it's impressive physically. Swerve does a handspring out of the ring, but instead of clotheslining the shit out of Leo Rush into next Wednesday, he stops right in his face. What the hell was that? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's all over Twitter. It was the worst shit I've ever. Again, a couple of weeks ago,
right over that announce table.
A couple of weeks ago, Swerve was in the ring against help me out here, against Benjamin Shelton, and had a great match. Or Shelton Benjamin, sorry,
and Franklin Benjamin,
that guy.
Franklin
he had a great match with him. That guy, the pink guy, they had a great match.
The paint guy. Who the hell is the paint guy? Sherwin Williams versus Shelton Benjamin, everybody. Sherman Williams. Yeah.
They had a great match a couple weeks ago. This was the exact opposite of everything that match was in every way. Flips, flops, bullshit, don't care. Again, who you knew who was going to win. There was no doubt about it. Swerve wins. He starts talking shit. And this was the only time I've seen MVP get flustered. He sort of lost his way halfway through the promo because I'm thinking something should have happened. I think Shelton Benjamin should have been there sooner. That's how it felt. He course corrected. It happened at the end. They beat the shit out of him and scene.
All I can say is Swerve Strickland is not a main event star. He's not a main event star. He had the heavyweight championship because Tony Khan was under heat for not treating the black employees, the black wrestlers, with any sort of any kind of meritocracy where they would move up and be a champ.
See, I'm going to disagree with you
for some reason. We could agree to disagree. I think he's a mid-card guy. If you think he's a main eventer because of the Outlaw Mud show they put on with Hangman Adam Page, where, they're stapling shit to their faces and somebody's getting a needle in their jaw and handcuffs and all this other crap and cinder blocks is being body slammed on top of cinder blocks and all this other crap. It's garbage. That doesn't make you a main event star. It's garbage. Do you think Adam Page is a main event star?
No, God, no.
Then why do you think Swerve is a main event star?
May I retort?
You can retort, but I will say one thing. The last thing I'll say about this match,
I guess
should
I
have
can't
been
retort.
a complete.
Never mind.
You can retort. Hang on a second. This match should have been a 2-minute squash. It should have been a 2-minute squash, over and done, and then they could have came in and done whatever they wanted to do. But go ahead, Don.
Now may I retort?
Yes, sir.
Swerve Strickland a year ago was the most over star they had in this company. It's not even close. What he was doing was a lot of his. A year ago, yes. A year ago, go back and look it up.
What about MJF? What about Samoa Joe?
MJF was gone. MJF was gone in a month. I'm sorry, but Swerve a year ago was up there. Samoa Joe, where the hell is Samoa Joe? I know. I'm filming a movie. I don't give a shit.
He's still on the show Twisted Metal.
Let me finish. A year ago, Swerve was over. I dug it. A lot of people dug it. I didn't dig some of the segments he was in, but he had charisma. The booking is what did him in, not his own professional acumen. It's because Tony doesn't know to say no. No, don't let him stick a needle in your face. No, don't staple your penis to the mat. No, don't let him staple your nipples to the carpet. That's the shit that should have been stopped. And he doesn't have the gumption.
It might have been a better match, Don. It might have been a better match if we saw all that.
He doesn't have the sack to tell anybody no, so you get Steve-O matches in AEW. That's the problem. It'd be cool if I stapled my sack to the ring. No one wants to watch it. No one does. So that was my take on this. He gets his ass kicked. They jump him, blah, blah, blah. Renee Baguette is backstage with Jamie Hayter, and the lights go out. Because Jamie Hayter says, you want to know who's next? And the lights just go out, and we get this Julia Hart segment. What the hell was that?
It's cinema, Don. It's cinema, Don. The phone rang. She picked it up. You couldn't hear anybody say anything because the sound was so bad.
Would not.
Could you? Julia Hart? No, I wouldn't touch her either, pal. But just looking at my notes that I had here.
There's no notes to cover on this, man. There's nothing to cover on this.
Can I say a few things? Sure,
things?
Pal, how often do I sit here and just listen to you rant for like 15 minutes on a segment where you're just shitting all over it? This is for her to come back to the House of Black. They're calling her to come back.
Got that.
And someone said on Twitter, they said that these vignettes of Julia Hart they're knocking them right out of the park because this isn't the first one. There's been stuff on the B and C shows with Julia Hart and these little vignettes. They say it's cinematic. It's so cinematic. I see porn flicks with better production values than what she did in this little clip. It's horrible. Horrible.
Didn't like it. Don't care. And I'm going to close out on this because I didn't give a shit about this. PP comes out for the main event to see who's going to be their number one contender. FTR fights the House of Black. House of Black wins. And I don't give a shit. Because I was done by this.
It ended like a flat beer. No spark, no fizz, no sizzle, no nothing. And when Aleister Black, or Malachi Black, I say in this incarnation, when Malachi Black drops down in the yoga position and just looks up at the guy, Why doesn't the person who's standing in front of him kick him right in the face? Why don't they? Just kick the hell out of the man while he's down on the ground sitting in front of you with his hands folded and his legs akimbo, or crossed, rather. Kick him right in the face. Maybe he would win the match. I don't know. Gun FTR, bald FTR. They both lost. The big tub of goo. The big tub of goo pinned somebody. Malachi Black's laying outside the ring after he gets, I guess, I've had enough. I don't want to be hurt. I have to go home to Zelina. I don't want any more injury time tacked onto this effing contract. That's probably what he's thinking. That's exactly. Why do you think he sat down for Adam Cole last week and let him knee him right in the face with that jaundiced knee?
Here, let me out of here.
Right, that's what he's doing. He's playing it perfectly. And if the inmates are running the asylum, why can't he run his wing of the asylum too? Why not?
I want to know something, and we've talked about this before.
You want to know what love is?
I want to know what love is.
Go ahead, Don.
Why does Tony Khan insist that wrestlers know best, or he does, and doesn't pay attention to the dwindling numbers on live attendance and his house show attendance and his reviews from non-AEW neckbeards and from the actual audience at home? Why is he not taking these metrics into account and going, this is not going well? My Jaguars team is a piece of shit too. Maybe I'm not very good at running these type of organizations. I'm just the money asshole. The money mark.
I heard the soccer teams are in the tank too. Not just the Jaguars, the soccer teams. Every pro sports thing he's got going on is in the tank. And he doesn't say
it has become impossible. And this was an angry show tonight. I hate when we do angry shows because it's fun. I like to have a good time and laugh. But this show made me so damn mad watching it today because I didn't watch it last night. But the show last night I watched today was so abysmal, was so embarrassingly bad, was so off the rails, non-storyline, random ass insert wrestler here moments. I don't know what to say. Kyle O'Reilly running down for no reason for the group that he said he was not going to help. That was like the cherry on top of a shit cake.
All the shows in professional wrestling over the last week, I don't know if you'll agree to this or not, Don. All the shows from professional wrestling the last week, be it SmackDown, Raw, NXT, and AEW Dynamite, are all just blase.
No, hold on. And I'll disagree there. SmackDown and Raw are boring, but they're not blase. AEW is just downright bad. It's just bad. Moxley with the Cracker Clan pulling up in a truck again to take over TBS, and nothing happens.
Nothing was taken over.
They don't take it over. No, they got the shit kicked out of it and ran.
He beat up a man in a teenage girl's bra, JD Drake. They beat him up. They beat up Darby Allen, a small, retarded boy with bad face paint.
Now that'll get us banned.
Bad face paint. What the word retarded? No, bad face paint. It's a fact that it's retarded. It's just it's a state. It's a medical condition. He's retarded. Little retarded boy with bad shoes and with Herman Munster lifts in his shoes. Yes. It's just horrible. It's horrible. Supposedly, I don't know how this floated out. I saw it on Twitter again. There's 40 writers for AEW. You believe that?
Oh my God, no way.
There's not 40 writers for AEW. There's not 40 writers for AEW because it would be a better show. This is all hot garbage. QT Marshall, Tony Khan, Jennifer Pepperman writes all Mercedes Moné's
I'm glad
crap.
you brought that up. QT Marshall, who announced his departure with, I'm leaving AEW, and then 4 months later when WWE said, yeah, we're not bringing you in here, pal. I'm coming back to AEW, you clown.
He thought his boy Cody was going to get him a job in WWE. Right
and
around
Cody
WrestleMania
said, I don't
time.
think so.
No,
I don't think so.
Well, they probably said, Guys, look, QT runs a Nightmare Factory for me. He's a great guy. Any way you can bring him in. How old is he? He writes AEW? He's a booker? He's an assistant booker for AEW Dynamite? No. We don't want him in here.
I just want to say, I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. Please like and subscribe. And I know one son of a bitch that would have never watched another episode of this after this show.
Until next week, Gordon Soley saying so long from the Sunshine State.